Welcome back to part 3 of my journey with the Frouds, where I regale you in my experience of learning how to draw and sculpt fairies with Brian and Wendy Froud. I want you guys to meet someone very special first. She does not have a name yet, but she's ancient and she's wise. And I'll show you how I created her. For the record, I keep her in a very auspicious place in my home because she's a little intense. This leg of the journey brings us to Portland, Oregon in 2015. Portland, Oregon, though, what a fairy place. The lush greens and the waterfalls. Wendy and Toby Froud were teaching a class on how to sculpt fairies. I had already arranged an art exchange with Wendy Froud, and I was still a tattoo artist at the time, so I brought my supplies with me. We'll get to that part later. Class was held at this beautiful little fairy store called the Faerie, which some of you might already know about. Unfortunately, they didn't make it through the pandemic, which makes me really sad, but it was such a hub for fairies and magical folks. I also hadn't met Toby yet, but we've all met baby Toby. He is the Toby in Labyrinth, and he's completely following in his parents' footsteps with puppetry and sculpture and animation. Brian wasn't there for this one, but it was completely amazing to have both Wendy and Toby teaching us their skills and their knowledge. And again, what I came up with was completely unexpected. We did a gorgeous guided meditation with Wendy first to meet our fairies. And for someone who works two-dimensionally, for the most part, it was really wonderful to get my hands into clay and to bring her to life. This process was really incredible. And the wire structure underneath her makes her fully positionable. But then getting to add the life with the colors and the hair and the costuming. She is quite ancient, and I trust that she'll reveal her name to me at some point. But dare I say she comes from that Yoda place. Here's a fun class portrait of everyone's together. So the art exchange part of this. I created something for Wendy that she told me just might wind up in one of their books eventually. Totally had to keep my cool for that one. But Toby wanted a tattoo. And so I tattooed a labyrinth on the baby from Labyrinth. It was to go alongside some of his existing dark crystal tattoo work. But I did not have a stencil prepared, so I freehanded that with a Sharpie. No pressure! And he was completely gracious and a total pleasure to work with. As for what happened with the drawing that I did for Wendy, this takes us into part 4. So at this point in time, I had no idea it was going to go here, but I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek. If you've heard of their Lady Coddington series, my drawing made its way all over the pressed fairy journal of Madeline Coddington.